Hi everyone, Miss Sheridan here. I'm going to read to you Six Dinner Sid, a Highland adventure by Ingermore. Sid ate no fewer than 6 dinners a day. He wasn't called Six Dinner Sid for nothing. He lived with 6 sets of owners in 6 houses, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, Pythagoras Place. Apart from eating his 6 dinners, there was nothing Sid liked more than going in and out of his 6 houses. Most of them were fairly easy to get into. Others were a lot trickier, requiring a good deal of skill and agility. Sid's owners would watch in amazement as he leapt from windowsill to another like a nimble mountain goat. As for climbing, Sid was a natural, and he could always get himself out of a tight spot. He could always get himself into one too, as we are about to find out. Like most people, every year Sid's owners went on holiday, but one year there was a problem. For some reason or another, everyone wanted to go at the same time. Who will feed Sid, they said. They couldn't send him to a cattery because at catteries, having 6 dinners wasn't allowed. The people working there were very strict about that sort of thing. So in the end, Sid's owners decided that they would all go on holiday together, taking Sid with them. And when holiday time arrived, Sid was put into a travelling basket and taken to a station to catch the train. Sid had no idea where he was going, but he hoped it would be more or less like Pythagoras Place, which was funny because in one way it couldn't have been more like Pythagoras Place, and in another it couldn't have been less. Sid's owners had rented 6 wooden cabins in the Scottish Highlands. Sid soon felt right at home. Then he went into the forest to explore. He hadn't gone far when a voice in a tree said, "Halt! Who goes there?" "Sid," said Sid. "Well, hello, Sid," said the voice, and down from the tree jumped the biggest tabby cat Sid had ever seen. "My name's Jock," he said, "and this is my forest." Jock, who was a Scottish wildcat, offered to show Sid around. As they went along, Sid told Jock about his 6 dinners. 6 dinners a day, eh?" said Jock. My. Jock said in the forest you could have as many dinners a day as you liked. Of course, he added, you have to catch them first. And he took Sid to a Highland stream. Swimming in the water was Sid's favourite food. Fish! Jock showed Sid how to flip one out with his paw, but instead of flipping the fish out the water, Sid flipped himself right into it. Splash! So Jock took Sid down to the loch, and there was lying asleep in a pool was a lobster. "You'll catch that right enough," said Jock, but all Sid caught was a big nip. "Yow!" howled Sid. As if this wasn't bad enough, when Sid chased a rabbit and the rabbit ran down the hole, so did Sid, and he got stuck. How those rabbits laughed at Sid. "Oh well," said Jock, digging him out, "I suppose you are only a city cat." On top of a crag there was an eagle's nest. Jock said his favourite food was eagle's eggs. At least he thought they were. Actually, he had never dared to climb up to try one. Sid couldn't think why. The nest looked no harder to get to than the skylight on the roof of number 2 Pythagoras Place. So Sid decided to show Jock what city cats were really made of. "Come on, Jock," he said, and he led the way up to the steep crag. They were almost at the top when, oh dear, the owner of the nest spotted them. The indignant mother eagle swooped down to defend her eggs. Sid managed to hide, but Jock was not so lucky. "Help!" he cried as the eagle grabbed him. Sid took a swipe at the eagle, then, did he slip or did he jump? Sid never knew, but somehow he found himself on the eagle's back. The eagle dropped Jock with Sid on board, and she flew up into the sky. She twisted and turned and looped the loop, trying to fling Sid off. Sid was in an extremely tight spot, but he had been in a tight spot before, and he managed to keep a cool head. No matter how hard the eagle tried to fling him off, Sid hung on. He waited until just the right moment. Then, when the eagle was closest to the ground, he jumped. Sid knew exactly how to land, so he was not hurt. "Phew," said Jock. "Well, that was a near thing. Well done, Sid. You city cats are not so bad after all." Jock saw Sid back into the cabin. "Goodbye," he said. "Enjoy your 6 dinners." But with all that fishing and hunting and climbing and flying around the fresh Highland air, Sid had worked up quite an appetite. He wasn't sure if 6 dinners were going to be enough tonight. It was just possible he would have to find himself a 7th. Now, there was a likely looking camper van.